Podcast, episode 59. Hello. I'm gonna take a drink of water real quick. That water was pretty good. Hey, we have some things to go over today. One, I'm gonna be lazy and not do this elaborately. Just go like, oh, pop. If I were to do like an audio version of this, audio only version of this is not gonna play very well. But let's do it. 1, 2, 3, pop! Oh, there we go. Hey, this is the new little image thing for the YouTube thing. It's right there, on the screen right now. If you're listening to YouTube, ouch, as of recording, YouTube is the only way I put this up right now. So having a good time. I made a website and it's different than before, and I have a logo and a color scheme thing. So I was like, I gotta change this. So no more little MS Paint Man, unfortunately. Rest in peace, Paint Man. I like that picture a lot. If you couldn't tell, I reused it for a ton of different things. I think part of the reason why I liked it so much is because like all the like spines on the box arts on those, they're all like based off different games, and I think they're all like PS2 and Xbox games. Because I think at the time I only had like a Wii when I first started, probably. Yeah, definitely when I first started, probably was just a Wii, and like I'm holding up that little disc, and it's the bouncer. If you haven't ever noticed, the bouncer for the PS2. I like doing that like little tiny, super tiny pixel art in a way that's like barely decipherable. And part of the reason why I was able to do that is because the actual image was made in originally a really low resolution, and you could probably tell. But that also made it very difficult to work in those little tiny areas, but that's what made them look kind of neat. My Yoshi Touch and Go video has a recreation of, I forget if it was, I think it's the Nintendo 64 Yoshi story box art is what's on there. And I really like the little box art a lot. Unfortunately, Yoshi's hand covers up most of it. And I was trying to look at recently for the original one that was just the box art, but I couldn't find it. So rest in peace. It's probably somewhere. I probably have it saved somewhere. Anyways, yeah, it's a new website, a new day. Welcome, onecontrollerport.com. I stole my podcast name because Oculin, Oculin, was taken, and it's not really a good website name, I feel like. Where One Controller Port is, I mean, originally the One Controller Port name came because this is a podcast by myself, and there's consoles that have One Controller Port. Yeah, and I felt it was a good name for a website, because naming websites for video game stuff is hard. But it worked out, and I got a logo. Congratulations. So if you haven't looked yet, if you haven't gone there yet, there's 2 new pieces of content up right now. There's the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 video, which I've been working on forever. It's not particularly special video. It's more or less just a review, but it took me a long time to kind of narrow down the text. The review was originally like 2-3 times longer than it used to be, so thank God I tore it down at some point. And then there's also an article about turn-based RPGs and how it presents party members who are inactive in battle. So when you have other characters just standing there waiting for their turn, kind of thing. And I've been wanting to write about that for a while, because Skies of Arcadia, and I'm gonna try to move back from my mic a little bit because I keep bumping it. I've noticed that the last handful of podcasts, and I need it back up. So hopefully I'm not too quiet. But anyway, so Skies of Arcadia has this whole thing where basically like the characters run around and fight each other in the background, even when it's not their turn. And I like that idea a lot, and I really didn't have a place to talk about it beforehand. So it was originally going to be a video gaming bit, and I wonder if at some point I did write something, but I don't know. But anyways, And then I just never did it. And then so when the Fire Emblem Three Houses got announced, they added on all those soldiers on the battlefield that are like fighting in the background that seem to have no real relevance other than just for presentation. So if you felt like a good time to talk about that. So both those things are on the website. They're in the featured section on the website. So it's like the big like scrolly bar on the top of the page. I'm not really sure how to do the feature stuff right now. Right now, it's kind of like its own independent category, but eventually anything that gets out of that feature section goes down into the bottom subcategories for articles, videos, and weekly content. So yeah. So I have like a welcome page as well, and I'll link all three of these main pages to hit in the description below. But basically, yeah, I just had, and you guys have heard me talk about it on the podcast pretty often. Basically I had some trouble with just having stuff organized. Like the podcasts would flood my main page, and I wanted to have streams be represented on my blog in some ways, but then that would flood it out even more. And the rate at which I post videos and articles sometimes means that stuff just gets pushed off, and then it's like lost into the abyss. If I don't do anything for the next 3-4 weeks. And then if I like send somebody my website that's like, hey, you want to check out some of my stuff, it's like a whole page worth of podcasts because I haven't written anything in a while or something. And I just want a way to organize that stuff and better display that stuff. And then also a way to like resurface that stuff. I have like an archive highlights section at the bottom that basically is a bunch of handpicked articles from me that I decided these were like interesting things that I've written in the past, or like I think they're pretty good. There's some lower quality stuff in there, like the Mega Man Legends video review. I'm not sure why it felt right to put it in there, but I just was like, this should probably go in there. I think it's going to be hard deciding when things should go in there and when they shouldn't go in there, so I'm not really sure. Things may be taken out if at some point I decide not to, but I haven't gone through all my stuff in the past, so some older content may be updated and put in there as well if I find them reasonable put in there. A lot of it's just me rereading it, and I think I may have mentioned this before. If anything, it's mentioned in the welcome post. The import from my previous blog did not go as I expected, and so there's a lot of broken content on the website right now. Everything released in 2018 is up to date. Everything before that is most likely not to update unless it's something I've updated for the archive highlights. There's a couple other articles. There's a couple of our articles I've updated as well, just because I happen to be there or happen to be talking about, like my Evolution Worlds review. I went and updated that because I just happened to be talking about it on a podcast. So yeah, that's the website, onecontrollerport.com. It's probably a good sign that I have a hard time saying it. Also, I made the name and then like totally didn't think about, Xbox One controllers is the one, like the SEO for this, so nobody will ever find me on Google because everything will be like Xbox One controllers. But hey, I write for myself anyway, so no problem. Nobody finds me. Yeah. So I guess there's one thing that I kind of did want to talk about news-wise is that LovePlus Every finally got a new release date. So it's been delayed for a while, and I don't think they've said much about the game in that time. I think they just is like, it's going to come out in February, probably because they're like Valentine's Day, but then that probably didn't happen. And now it's coming out in August, which I'm actually kind of excited for. I got to figure it out. I think I need a, like, in the past I've used, what was that? Is it Blue something? There's like a phone emulator, Blue something. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but I used a phone emulator to play Final Fantasy Grandmasters. I haven't really found a consistent way to play Japanese phone application things. I do have an Android device, so it may be fairly easy to actually do that. I'm not quite sure. I had to look into it again. It's been a long time. But I would be interested in playing that. I've been interested in the LovePlus series pretty much since the beginning. I mean, back when it first came out, I'm pretty sure I was just like, it's a joke. But I think these days I'm more legitimately interested in trying it out, and I think what was always kind of interesting to me in the LovePlus series particularly is like this idea that it's like a daily game that you kind of log into and you have these interactions with your character, and then obviously there's like the more intimate stuff like, as far as I know, it's been a long time since I've looked at anything LovePlus or read anything about it. So this is what my brain is telling me. Maybe 10 years ago, I thought this was the case, and now it's back to my brain. But like, kissing the screen and like doing things in the microphone, saying "I love you" and weird things like that. It's a little. It's neat that they looked at the DS and were like, hey, we have all these features that aren't just like button presses, and how can we use that to interact with the characters in a way. There was a fan translation for the original DS version, and then I think at the time I was a little like, because there was LovePlus that came out, and then I was like, well, I'll wait for the fan translation of LovePlus, which I don't think ever happened, and then there's the new LovePlus 3DS is what it was. I think the 3DS games kind of got a little beat up on. I don't remember them being particularly well received, and then that's when the franchise kind of died, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure. So seeing it come back, I'm kind of curious to see how it does, since the series has been kind of in hibernation for a good long while. I definitely see stuff pop up every once in a blue moon, but I feel like I haven't really seen anything since like the new 3DS XL, I think had some LovePlus editions or something like that, which was a while ago at this point. So I'm interested. I don't know. The biggest thing that's kept me from playing the original DS game these days is I need like a flash cart or something to play it on the actual DS, and I've never decided on a flash cart to try. So if you have any recommendations for a flash cart, that would be great, because I don't know what makes a good or a bad flash cart. I pretty much just look at them and say, well, the more expensive ones, it might be better. I don't know. So yeah, but I might just try this one, depending. I mean, I probably don't want to play on like a phone emulator if it's going to be something that's like more about the experience of like, hey, use your touchscreen and do weird stuff rather than using the mouse or something like that. But I don't know. LovePlus, I'll give it a shot maybe someday. We'll see. Maybe someday. I'm actually kind of like, it reminds me when looking at LovePlus, and I shouldn't feel this way, but it reminds me that like a lot of those kind of I don't know the best word to put. LovePlus doesn't even really fall into this category, but it reminds me a lot of the those like dress up dating games and stuff that used to come out on DS, specifically targeted at younger girls. I've always been kind of bitter about how the 3DS's market turned out in that regard, because there was like some interesting titles between I think it was called Girls RPG, but I think it may have gotten changed to like Cinderella Girls or something. It was the Hostess Club game where you play as the hostess girl who basically like you're a hostess, so you basically flirt with these anime characters. Typically they were licensed characters like Lupin the Third and stuff like that. And I always wanted that name to come out here, but I can kind of understand because hostesses aren't really a thing here, as far as I know at least. And then also, anime licensed characters means that you'll have to deal with the license nightmare that it is here in America. Like how Tatsunoko versus Capcom had to deal with that kind of stuff. And then there's also Fab Style by Tecmo Koei, and I always wanted Fab Style. I don't know what it was about Fab Style. I'm gonna put the trailer in the description because I love Fab Style's like look. It looks like Tecmo Koei characters, but it's interesting. It's interesting because they're like I don't know the best way to put it. It reminds me of, like, the art style reminds me of like Dead or Alive characters, but it's a very conservative look in comparison. And that game never came out here. There's actually a DS version of Fab Style as well, but why would you play that? Don't play that. Don't do that. I would like to import a copy of Fab Style someday. So really the only thing we ever got here was Style Savvy, I believe, which is, girls mode in Japan. And Style Savvy 2 and 3 came out here, I think. I think that's the case. Style Savvy came out on DS on Wii U, and I never picked that up. I forgot about that. I want to do that sometime. Anyways, Fabs. I miss those kind of games, but I shouldn't miss them because they're on phone now. Is what happened. I need to play some Love Nikki, but I don't know. I feel like Love Nikki and other games I've seen like that don't have quite the budget of like a Style Savvy kind of thing. maybe not even budget is right, but like 3D models and stuff. Like when I saw that LovePlus trailer, they showed all like the girls in different outfits and stuff. I'm like, whatever. And then they show in 3D models in different outfits, and I'm like, what? They could switch outfits in between, which shouldn't be surprising, but I guess I kind of forgot or something. And I was like, I want to switch outfits. I don't know if you decide or if they decide what they wear, but they're cute outfits either way. And I was just like, I want to do the dress up stuff. Give me the dress up stuff to do. and I feel like with I guess you can do that in Love Nikki with like the 2D models. I don't know. I feel like dress up, I always prefer like 3D models, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just the ability to kind of see it from every angle. I'm having a hard time, like I'm not really knowing what point I'm like. I don't know my thought process behind this, so it's becoming very difficult to explain. So I probably should just stop trying to play it or explain it. Right now, I know that I prefer 3D models for dressing up characters and stuff, but that's why I like stuff like God Eater, like all the dress up stuff in that is really nice. Freedom Wars, although Freedom Wars, the dress up stuff was like really restrictive. Like there's some really elaborate like clothing options, and so the whole game. And I played through this game twice because my save data got corrupted, and then I had some friends that wanted to play through it. So I was like, I'll just start over with you guys. I played through the whole game like, oh, some of these, like, I don't like the headpiece on this, or I don't like all these weird belts that are going across it, only to find out, probably in the last hour that I played that game in whole, apparently you can press a button and it will remove certain parts of the clothing, and so you could get rid of parts of your clothing that you didn't like, and I was like, oh, I wish I knew ahead of time, because then I would have had so many more options for dressing up, but, you know, it's too late. I don't think I'll ever go back to Freedom Wars, unfortunately. I just think I'd rather go somewhere else, but it's sad. It's a sad time. But yeah, let's stop talking about dress up stuff. Dress up. I'm gonna guess in LovePlus you don't dress them up. I'm guessing they dress up on their own. But hey, you know, that's all right. That game's focus is something else, so it should be good. It should be fine. Let's do a fortune cookie. I wasn't planning on doing a fortune cookie, but we're gonna do it. So I'm going to open up Backloggery here real quick. If I can remember my password. My login information is wrong. If I can't get my login right, we will not do a fortune cookie. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, I've been playing Dragon Quest Heroes 2 recently still. The end game for that game is super RNG and grindy, which is kind of good in some ways and kind of bad in some ways. I'm like grinding out bows for Angelo because he's kind of broken. Yeah, it's yeah, I don't know if I'll have any more coverage for Dragon Quest Heroes 2, really. There's interesting things about Dragon Quest Heroes 2, but I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I'll give some thought. Get back to you on that. Mafia 2. I don't know much about the Mafia franchise as a whole. There was much Mafia 1 and Mafia 3, and I never really knew much about Mafia 1. By the time I played Mafia 2, Mafia 3 wasn't out yet. I'm not a big fan of Grand Theft Auto games. I think I explained this a little bit in my Zelda video about Breath of the Wild, where I'm like, those type of games give you tools to play with the world, and a lot of the experience, I feel like, is seeing how that world reacts to the player's actions, or like things you do or events you do, like how all these characters react, how the cars and like planes will react to you, like hitting them in a weird way, and they like explode off in weird random directions, stuff, or like how much carnage can create, stuff like that. Mafia 2 is a case, and I played Grand Theft Auto 4 this way a lot of times, where it's just like I just go from the part of the game that is the next mission to the next mission. I basically go in a straight line for the most part. What I did like about Mafia 2 though is they have like that speed limiter thing where it's like, oh, this will reduce your speed down to like what the speed limit is for this road. And unfortunately, like I recall the cops being pretty unrealistic of like, if you accidentally like fender bendered somebody, the cops would get out of their car and just like start shooting you, and it's like, oh no. Which isn't realistic at all. But I like driving around that world and that environment. I'm a big fan of I think that'd be like 1940s or 1960s? But I'm a big fan of that kind of like between like 20s and 60s era, I think. I like that style. Like stuff like LA Noire and things like that. And then I'm a big, I grew up with a lot of Dean Martin when I was a kid, and I love Dean Martin. And even though I think, if I recall correctly, I've looked at the years, and like the time when Dean Martin was singing and the time when Mafia is happening doesn't line up at all. But I really like it. I'm bumping my mic again. Sorry, let me move back a little bit. But I really like that aesthetic of the music in that game. It's a lot of like, oldies music that I really enjoyed. But in the same way people like the Fallout music and stuff. It's in the case of this though, it might be more in place just because it's a real world, where Fallout's kind of this weird mix because everything never advanced past the 50s is what it was. Anyways, I don't remember how Fallout worked. I think it's the 50s in Fallout. But anyways, Mafia, I really liked the music in it, and I like driving around, and the fact that they let you like drive around pretty like in a relaxing way, because you're not worrying about how fast you're going. Like if you try to drive the speed limit in like a Grand Theft Auto, and I've only played 4 and 5, I find that you just sit there and like really, and like the driver even, because I remember playing like normal driver driving once at some point. It's a lot of like kind of tapping the throttle to make sure your speed doesn't go above a certain point, and it's just not a particularly it's not a particularly satisfying driving experience for like driving it in a realistic way. And Mafia 2 really gives you the tools to do that, just the exception of being fender bender, oh no, the cops are gonna shoot you kind of thing. But yeah, I like Mafia 2's story a lot. I can't say I care about the gameplay, or at least the world exploration stuff. I always just kind of prefer those games to be kind of mission based, but I will say that like exploring the world and getting the dialogue while you're just driving around in the cars is something that I think is valuable in that kind of game, valuable in like LA Noire as well. It's just like you get kind of this atmosphere, and like you get to kind of absorb the world while you're going from place to place, specifically in like LA Noire, because you can just tell your partner to drive, which is what I would do all the time, just like tell my partner to drive, and then they like go through a whole dialogue segment while you're driving around, and then eventually just like once the dialogue is done, I think it either gives you the option or automatically skips you to the next mission. So yeah, Mafia 2, it's all right, but I just don't care about Grand Theft Auto's like open world style games very much. So like the core foundation of what that game is, I wasn't particularly into, but I'm not a huge fan, but I do like the style and tone of that series. I really like the part where there's this one really nice part where like, I don't know if really nice is the best way to put it, but like you guys kill somebody and you have to go bury him on top of the mountain, and everybody's like super drunk except for the main character. and you go bury this guy at the top of the mountain, and then you get in the car and you're driving down the mountain, and the whole time you're driving down, like everybody who was with you who buried the guy is just like drunkenly singing to Dean Martin, and it's like a really good scene that I love a lot. Yeah, that's a fun game. There's a song in there called the Dipsy Doodle. I assume it's a real song, probably based on how that game's music is. It's a good song. Dipsy doodle. Everyone can relate to the dipsy doodle, because sometimes you say something you don't want to say. That's going to be it for this week. So streaming is a little bit weird. So I beat Full Spectrum Warrior last week. So hey, congratulations. Yay. I might write something about it. I'm kind of debating it. I kind of want to do a video on it, but then I have to like re-record new footage, because in the stream I have to put the chat in there, and it's not a great experience. I don't know. I like streaming to Twitch for the live stuff, but I like YouTube for the VOD stuff. So it's kind of this weird balance I have to do. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, so I'll probably just write an article for Full Spectrum Warrior. The next big stream game I think is going to be Yakuza 2, but it's going to be the PlayStation 2 version. So it's the super old version. But next week specifically, I might just take a break from big long games right now and just play Red Dog Superior Firepower. That's a game by Argonauts Games, the developers of Star Fox. Been around Star Fox and Argonaut games a lot recently for some reason. I don't know if we're going to beat it I don't remember a ton about it. The Dreamcast game, and I've had it for a long time. So if it gets to like the point where it's like, oh, we're like over halfway through the game by the end of the stream, then maybe I'll just go ahead and do it. But I don't know. We'll see. I saw like someone beat the game like an hour about if it was like a speed run or something, or if it's like, no, really, this game's just really short or something like that. I remember having trouble with it as a kid, so maybe I'll have trouble with it today. Who knows? And then I think I'm going to stream a little bit of Valkyria Revolution for the quick play stream segment. We'll see how that goes. That's a game that I have a lot of very mixed and strong feelings on. So I might just stumble over myself trying to explain why I like that game. I also got to kind of look into see what kind of is available in the end game for me to do and to show off. And then if there's like anything specific story-wise I might want to like poke into at all. Probably more research than I need to or should do, but yeah. But that's gonna be it. So yeah, look forward to Yakuza 2. I'll definitely let you know. It's either gonna be next week we'll start Yakuza 2, or if we get close to doing Red Dog or finishing Red Dog, it'll probably be sometime the next 2 weeks, something like that. So you'll hear on the stream how things go. I'll let you know, or here in this podcast. And that's it. So thank you very much, and then yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the new site. Go to the welcome page if you need some more information about how that site's set up. If there's any questions you have, you let me know. There's the recent section in the website to just show you all the stuff that pops up chronologically. So if you don't want to sit there and like sort through the 3 different segments I broke things into, just go to the recent section. It shows you everything that's come out in chronological order. So it's just like the old blocks setup essentially. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys and have a great week. Bye.